how does Charleston White avoid being in a scenario like that?
I said no. Initially I was tried. Um, right at the beginning of my takeoff. A year into me being an internet sensation. I had signed a contract with some people. Uh, who was trying to they test you.
Mm.
Uh, so somebody like me, they felt like should go through media training. So media training sound like a legitimate, credible word, right? You're
Yeah.
going through media training, and so they spend a lot of time, I guess, depicting you, see what you like, see what you don't like,
See what they can get away with.
see what they can get away with. Uh, hey, don't say this. Well, okay, do this video like this. So they try to give you a script, subtly, and so in the process of giving you a script, they saying, uh, well, we got to dress you up because the way I dress is not appealing to an audience that could draw 300,000 subscribers.
Right.
Come on, let's cut your dreads off. If you notice my clothing in the beginning, I wore a lot of name brand clothes. They had me in Gucci, Fendi, uh, and so what I noticed, the clothes kept getting tighter, and I would hold them up and say, "Man, I ain't putting that on. Well, just try it on and see how it look." Well, if you try it on, then that means yeah. So I won't even try it on. Man, I ain't trying that on.
Yeah, because something's wrong with that director who wants to see you in that outfit.
Come on now,
And
just try it on. Well, we having a photo shoot. Just put this on. So this is what I noticed, and this is to answer your question in response to what Kat said about that. We leave our little small country towns or wherever we're from, and we want to make it into Hollywood. We want to be on television, or we want to be rich and famous.
Yeah.
So we chase this light. I never came in chasing a light, and what ends up happening is, and this end up happening to some of the most innocent, beautiful young girls. This end up happening to some of the most good-natured, good-spirited people, who end up becoming horrible people as entertainers.
Yeah.
Because naturally, you have a gift and you have a talent, a God-given gift and talent that could capture the world's attention. That's a light. Whether you can sing, dance, act, play sports. But when you leave home, you're chasing a bigger light that you think is bigger than the light that's in you. Hollywood, the stage, fame, being a viral sensation. So in the process of trying to get to that light, you dim your light. You start doing things, putting your light out to get closer to that light. And just say when you make it to that light, you've done a lot of things to get here. And when you get to that light, it's a horrible individual holding that light, asking you to do things to keep the light.
Yeah, because there's someone holding a mirror to your face and you see the reflection.
Come on now.
And it ain't the same person that
Come
it
on.
was when you first got started.
So I never came in chasing a light. Because I know there's someone in my hometown, in my life, which is my mother, my wife, my children. They can see this light in me. And if I go do something to put this light out, they don't see the same person when they look me in my eyes. And that's what happened to a lot of our celebrities, a lot of young people, a lot of people who chase this light called rich and fame, and they do things to get to the next part to try to get a little closer to the light. And from the most part, when you get to the light, there's not a lot of good people up there.
It's easier said than done with what you're describing. Some of the I was talking to Mr. Hudson, when we were coming over here, and I think 9 billion views on a particular video. I mean, when you have that type of stuff where you go viral, and you're able to build platforms and stuff off of that, and build a success off of that. How do you try to stay grounded with all that with all that's coming your way?
I show my good and bad. because I know every day somebody's looking and digging up to find something bad. So I bear my good and bad to the world. I don't hide my flaws. I like to go to the gentleman's club. Some people call them strip clubs. I call them gentlemen's club because I go in and I behave.
My second home.
I behave like a perfect gentleman because that's my second home. And my wife know I go to these places. So if my wife called me, I don't look at the phone and try to hide like I'm not there. I go live in these places. They say, "What you doing as a married man?" I'm a man. I'm a man. And I know as a man, I was just telling Floyd's boxer, John Easton Jr., that your greatness, homie, your flaws is factored into that too. So I don't want to be perfect. And I'm honest enough to tell the internet and everybody, man, sometimes I want to be wrong. Yeah, sometimes I want to be wrong. Yeah. And I'm man enough to say when I'm wrong, yeah, I'm wrong. So I'm wrong. Fuck you, I'm wrong. But at some point I go back and say, man, God forgive me for doing wrong.
Big facts. You're also starring in Wrong Address. That's produced by
that's my movie. Okay. I'm a co-star in this movie, but I'm the main star in this movie called Wrong Address. It's a movie produced by a young brother by the name of Measy out of the great Jackson, Mississippi. He have quite a few movies on Tubi that has done very well. He's co-written and done a lot of movies with the guy Murder Payne from Detroit, and so he had an idea of putting me and the popular rapper out of Dallas, Texas called Trap Boy Freddy. He and I was supposed to, co-star in this movie together, but unfortunately, he had to turn himself in to go do a little time, and so we continued on with the movie. It's about I play an uncle and a father and a grandfather who my daughter get tied up into some street mess with a boyfriend. My grandson ended up getting killed. The police investigating the case is an old friend of mine, so I end up working with the police to help solve the case. It's a great movie. I was surprised that, man, people flew from all around the country to come audition and be in the movie. So I'm really excited about this.
You have a streaming collaboration, Underground Railroad Comedy Tour. Talk to us about that.
Yes, sir. So that's Underground Railroad Comedy Tour is a concept that I came up with to bridge new comedians into the comedy world. So there's a lot of people on the internet that's funny. There's a lot of older comedians that don't believe that Country Wayne is funny as he is. They don't think Desi Banks is as good as he is because we didn't go their route of being stand-up comedians.
Right.
But our audience, our demographics, our fans think we're funny. And so God gave me a vision to recreate the Underground Railroad's path, but in the name of comedy. So chase the same path, these same cities of the Underground Railroad, in which we would call the Chitlin Circuit, and gather all these new comedians as we go along, and ask the internet who they think should be on here, and give these comedians a chance. And so, with that vision and that idea, we can eventually come up with the Underground Railroad Kings of Comedy, because we can't be the kings of comedy because we already have the kings, but we can be the Underground Railroad Kings. And so that would be something that I think could continue on like Def Comedy Jam. So that's that concept.
No, that's perfect, man. I mean, that's a beautiful thing too. So I like that. I can't wait to see how it takes off, because that's smart,
Yes, sir. I want to recreate the Negro League. So yeah, man, if you see my shirt, man, I'm trying to recreate the Negro League, man. So that's whether that's in comedy, football, basketball, little league, and so
gotta come to Kansas City. We gotta get you over to the actual Negro Leagues.
Yes, sir. And so with the streaming deal, I'm partnering and collabing with the young kid Aiden Ross, which is one of the biggest streamers in the world. So he and I do a lot of great content together. We got a great chemistry. His audience love us together. And so it gives me access to more youth, the hearts and the mind of our youth, which is 100% of our future. And so I'm everybody's favorite uncle on the internet now.
We are going to talk football and politics in just a second, but Cheryl Dozier wanted me to talk to you about your philanthropic efforts, because I know it's very important and very near and dear to you. So tell us some of the efforts that you're out here doing.
I never stopped working with the youth. I just expanded, and so when I travel to different cities, I make it my business to give a portion of my back end money back directly off into the communities, whether that's the mothers who have buried their children to gun violence, or whether that's going into a school, um, and walking into a classroom, a gym, and looking at the kid who has the ugliest shoes on his feet, and secretly slide them some money and say, man, go get you some new shoes. And watching the response when they see how much money I gave them. Um, I I, I learned in inner city schools with black children. You can change a lot of children's lives if you build from the feet up.
Yeah.
And so I've been working with kids for over 12 years. I actually started in like officially documentation in 2012. I watched my mother be a foster parent for over 20 some years after she retired from General Motors. Uh, to some of the most good children, some of the most greatest children in the world, but had been through some horrific situations. And I watched my mother nurture them. I grew up in a boys' home with other kids who had dealt with traumatic childhood. Uh, so I've always had a heart for children who struggle. And so I just grew up to become what I needed and what I desired to have as a kid. Somebody in my community uh, that could show me the way without tricking me.
Mm.
And so I just became the change that I wanted to see in the community. I created a youth organization that started out as a 501c3. I eventually ended up reading a book that was given to me by the executive director of the Annie Casey Foundation, which was a guy by the name of Bart LeBeau at the time. And the book was called The Revolution Will Not Be Funded. And it talked about and it broke down and explained a term that they used that was called the nonprofit industrial complex.
Mm.
After I read that book, I no longer felt the need to have a 501c3 status and just created a youth organization, a youth outreach that could self-sustain itself without looking for grants and donations to help other people. And so that's what I did. And until this day, I've been working with kids. I've never applied for a grant or a donation. I've never posted my Cash App online and asked for somebody to send me. So I've always said this is what I'm doing, and based on the consistency of what I was doing, how long I was doing it, and the character of who I was as a person to the community joined in and started supporting me and helping me. So I would never have to ask.
I'm gonna speechless on that. That's a beautiful thing, man. How can give us more information? How can people find out more about what you're doing in that
Oh
aspect,
man, I ask people to uh at this point they have to research now because my social media videos and my social media antics and rhetoric have superseded in metaverse world my actual community work. So if you Google my name, Charleston White, hyped about hype, and that's HYPED about HYPE, and hype is an acronym for helping young people excel. If you Google that, man, there's a ton of information about the work that I've done. Oh, I've been on the front page of the American Bar Association Journal about the legislation work that we did to get juvenile life without parole abolished. I've partnered and done the study with the Walter Cronkite School uh, of Journalism in
Yep.
Arizona, News 21, and that was a recent study on fatherlessness in America. That was like 3 years ago. So these are recent studies. I've done trainings for the United States Department of Homeland Security and Human Trafficking Division,
Yeah.
North Texas Crime Commission. So this is who I was prior to the internet. I came to the internet. The internet became my outlet. So that's why a lot of times I seem angry, man. I hate you. So that was my outlet. So when I end, that stays there. Uh, I trying to learn the internet. I learned me.
Mm.
So Try not to beg. Try not to be a black person that's asking for donations, that's criticizing other black people for not helping me online, because that's where I was going. So they said, well, man, you get paid for being on social media. So trying to understand the monetization of Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, I learned something about me. I'm funny because I'm researching the internet, so I have to engage the algorithm. I have to pay attention to the comments. So the comments became not just an audience, but a demographics, right? Because they're giving you these analytics on these social media sites.
Yeah.
So as I'm trying to learn this, people are saying you're funny. I'm saying I ain't funny. I'm cussing you out because this is my outlet to be frustrated, right? But I'm also trying to monetize it. So I started listening to what people would say is your audience, a supply and demand kind of theory. So, okay, I'm funny. So I would watch my videos and laugh at my videos.
I know that's right.
And so I discovered that, okay, I am funny. So that's how I ended up being able to navigate through this and not get stuck on social media as an angry black man with this negative rhetoric. So then the internet starts saying, oh, you look like Cat Williams. Oh, you a snitch, Rat Williams. Well, rather than being offended by the term Rat Williams, I made it a character. That's the internet character, Rat Williams. It'll cuss you out and say all these horrible things. So then they start saying, oh, you Uncle Ruckus, you hateful, you don't like this. So I became Uncle Ruckus. So that's where Unc come from. So I came up with Chicken Shit Charlie, Uncle Charlie. He don't like nothing and nobody but white folk. So the internet started showing me what they wanted. I created these characters. And so that's how I ended up on stage in the movies.
Oh, Jason Winlock would love you. We're joined by Charleston White here on Radio Row on location in Las Vegas, Nevada. Kansas City Chiefs take on the San Francisco 49ers tomorrow at Allegiant Stadium. All right, let's switch topics and talk some sports.
They won't talk football. I'm Andy Reid. Yeah, I'm Andy Reid all day.
Okay, tell me. I mean, I get a sense, but I don't like to assume. How does tomorrow's game look to you? Well, give me your thought process on the game tomorrow.
I'm going with the mulatto quarterback. Yeah, I'm going with the mulatto quarterback that can't nobody seem to beat but Tom Brady.
I can't stand you.
Yeah, I'm going with the mulattian. Yeah. God, yeah. It's something about Holmes. Yeah, something about Holmes. And let me just say this. I remember Mike Vick came home from prison.
Yeah.
And Andy Reid was one of the first people to give him a chance. I've been an Andy Reid fan ever since.
Yeah. And there for 4 years, and only that, he's one of the few players. I think one of the two players that I think actually, the only player that's had two $100 million deals. Yeah. So yeah, no, that's and he was actually at practice on Friday. So
okay, and then I didn't realize, man, this Patrick's what, third or fourth time coming to the Super Bowl?
Four Super Bowl in 5 seasons.
At such a young age.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they said he the new Brady. So but I'm going with him and Andy.
Okay, you got the score?
Man, the boy can throw the ball all kind of ways. Yeah, he can throw on the side. I'm just saying,
in case I decide to take your advice and go play a slip or something.
It's a low scoring game.
What?
Yeah, this gonna be a low scoring game. Yeah, defense win championship. This gonna be a low scoring game.
Yeah, Chiefs this year. I mean, the defense for the Chiefs has been superb. Like, they don't get to Super Bowl without that defense this year. Yeah. So no, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I got to ask you. Look, this week there were discussions at the NFL commissioners' press conference this week. I got a chance to ask the commissioner a question.
Oh, wow.
As it relates to the lack of, they had 0 black news editors, 0 black producers, just 0 blacks in the news media news group. And when I asked him why that is, mind you now, Jim Trotter had asked that question the last 2 seasons.
And he ignored him.
He ignored him. So I picked up the torch and asked that question. And he started talking about how, across the league and people of color and minorities. I'm like, that's not what I asked you. I asked you about blacks.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on the commissioner, basically sidestepping that once again.
We got to ask him again. We can't wait till the Super Bowl to hold his feet to the fire.
Yeah, but the problem is you don't get a chance to really talk to the commissioner too much, and then those that do have partnerships with the NFL, so they're not going to ask that question.
If you can't beat them, you join them. If you can't beat them, you join them. Uh, there there has to be a union for us in that department with the NFL. So I say we call on Jay-Z to ask him, because they gave Jay-Z access to doing a halftime shows at one point, right? They was listening to Jay-Z at one point in time, right?
Yeah.
So we asked Jay-Z to ask him. We create a coalition. We create a group. We create something that demands an answer to this question. Everybody else can.
Yeah.
But we have to do it in numbers, and that's what seems to be impossible. We can't collectively do it at one time for just one cause.
The National Association of Black Journalists has requested another interview again with the commissioner regarding that particular case study, and at the moment, it's just gone by the wayside.
It's mute. Yeah, it's mute. It's acting like it's just like when my woman asks me something, I ain't got a lie for it. I just don't answer. Did you hear what I said? I ain't got a lie for it.
You're right about that.
I ain't got time thinking it. I just don't answer. I act like she didn't say nothing.
Now, what is this about Charleston White for president 2024?
I want to put my name on the ballot for nothing else to just what
party?
Independent. But I'm a conservative. So by nature I would have to be a Republican. But by morals and principles, I'm a conservative at heart. I have conservative values. By my mother's teaching. So naturally and typically I have voted Republican because those are the more conservative principles and values. When I look at my spiritual beliefs, and in my moral compass, in the Constitution that I stand on as a man, it points me in this direction for this party. But what I'm saying for the young people, which is 100% of our future, they don't belong to neither party, because both parties have excluded our youth. Both parties have excluded our youth, and the lack of bipartisanship, the lack.
That sounds good in theory, but there's no such thing as bipartisanship.
I know. I'm trying to pick the right words, but because our elders, who say that they're from these two different parties, they remind me of a baby mama and a baby daddy who just refuse to get along and to work against each other's feelings, but for the best interest of the child. So baby mama and baby daddy tends to work against the best interest of the child to appease our interests, our personal feelings. And that's what's happening with our politicians. They're working against the best interest of our future and our children for a fight today.
Before we get out of here, what do you want people to take away from our discussion today?
That I'm not a Chiefs fan, that I'm an Andy Reid fan. And
I'm a Lotto fan, right?
Yeah. I got mulatto children. But the man that Cam Newton brought to the world is the man I was trying to hide from the world. Cam Newton pressed me on a lot of issues, and in that video, you see me get angry. I became vulnerable. My voice cracked. There was times I would want to cry. Because I felt like he unfairly challenged me. He unjustly that was supposed to be a shaming process. And I said some things that dug up some old bones, that uncovered some old wounds. And it affected my life personally. But it was something that I think that people needed to see, that I'm not the 8-minute viral sensation guy that you hear saying all these mean, hateful things. I've never killed nobody, but I served time for murder. I participated in it. I've never raped nobody. I've never been accused of rape. But I talk like I've done it. I'm acting. Satire comedy. The the things that you see me come to the internet and do, I studied, I researched, I watched old comedians, I watched movies. So I understand that some of the things I say is vulgar. And I say, man, I watched Andrew Dice Clay, Red Fox, Richard Pryor. I get some of my satire comedy from Howard Stern before XM Radio.
Yep.
So I studied all of this. I was sneaking and listening to Ma Mabel, and she got a dirty mouth. So I saw Dolomite. I grew up watching Dolomite. So it gave me an idea. I didn't know if it would work. So I came to the internet to see if these ideas would work. And it worked. And what ended up happening was people got stuck on the character and forget this man who's been working with children for a long time. And I've never been accused of doing anything wrong to children, to women, nor to my community. So I think by now, people have their minds made up despite of what's really out there about me. So just keep enjoying the show because it's great entertainment.
How can people follow you on social media?
My Instagram page is the real Charleston White 46. My Facebook is Charleston White, but they got a lot of fake pages. So just look for my fan page, Charleston White fan page. It's a private page, so you have to join. I'm on TikTok, the official Charleston TikTok. And just be listening for me in the airwaves by way of Green Room Radio, the game related podcast, streaming out of Vegas.
Are you on X as well?
No, not yet. And so I want people to I'm partnering with Aiden Ross, and so we're gonna be doing more philanthropy work in the inner cities with some of our babies. So we should bring some different content to the airwaves. He's a great kid. Black children love him. I travel all around this country. As soon as I hit them high school, even the juvenile facilities, they be saying, "Oh, what's up with you and Aiden Ross?" And so, because of Aiden Ross, Say Cheese TV, DJ Academics, DJU, I've been given access to some of our largest youth audience outside of Disney and Nickelodeon because of these guys. So I'm grateful for that.
Well, I am grateful for your time. Mr. Charleston White, thank you so very much.
Thank you, brother.
I've got to get out of here. I've got a long day tomorrow covering the Super Bowl. Charleston White, the great Charleston White. Make sure, of course, you follow him on social media. Make sure you watch his movies. Go see him when he comes to town. Thank you so very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. We are. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for the pregame cheat sheet with myself and Steve Walls as we get you prepared for the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 58. We are out of here.